This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
And welcome back, everyone. We're going to talk about a diet today. Don't even like to say the word diet. Let's just say a menu plan. It's just more positive than the word diet. It's just very negative. But this is one that has been in use for centuries and has supported people many, many times over. And we're still talking about it in 2025. I'm talking about the Ayurvedic diet. I think I'm saying that right. It's all a part of
That's
Ayurveda.
correct.
Okay. Um, the world's oldest healing science, which originated in India. That's Ayurveda. Again, 5,000 years. We've talked about the different forms, the different applications to your life so far with her. We haven't talked about the diet, so we're going to dig into that. She is the owner of Advanced Healing Wellness Center and author of Ayurveda, The Science of Life. And she's worked with many on all family lineage, all different areas, identifying pain and patterns and really changing lives in a very holistic way. She's Dr. Alda Sainfort. She's back with us. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Steve. How are you?
Real good, real good. I'm
Wonderful.
intrigued based on everything we've talked about, and even the things that I've heard when it connects to Ayurveda and food. So, what should we understand before we even get into maybe some of the specific food items and uh, and menu plans? What should we know about the Ayurvedic diet?
Yeah, thank you. The first thing I want to say, an Ayurvedic diet is not a one size fits all. It's not like everybody loves to eat ice cream and it's good for everyone. It's about what your body constitution needs are. And I was reading earlier, I was looking at this paragraph in my book, the Ayurveda, The Science of Life. And I would love to start with reading that paragraph for you, and we'll take it from there. Okay?
Absolutely.
It is the chapter on nutrition and digestion. In Ayurveda, food is regarded as medicine. However, if food is not adequately digested, it can become toxic and form a sticky substance that can accumulate in the tissues, ultimately leading to illnesses in the affected organs or systems over time.
The substance you speak of, can you give more clarity on that?
Yeah, this substance, it's called AMA. It is a very toxic substance, and it is from how we eat food, and undigested food accumulates in the tissues. And this food, when it's undigested, and it forms toxins, and it is called and that's the basis of illnesses according to Ayurvedic medicine.
Wow. Okay. Wasn't Never even heard of that. Wasn't aware of it. Why do we have this toxic buildup in our bodies?
Because of how we eat. When we eat, we need to consider a few things. The taste of the food, its quality, its potency, and the post-digestive effect, and it's the special effect it has, the special effect of the food. And most people don't eat thinking that way. But when you come to an Ayurvedic physician or practitioner, they cater a diet for you. They look into your body constitution and consider what is best for you based on your constitution.
Hmm. So we're talking about this substance that is toxic. Is it in everyone?
It can be accumulated in everyone, depends on your lifestyle, how you eat, and how your food is digested. And also the digestive fire, if your digestive fire is high, it digests very quickly. If it's slow, then what we call slow metabolism, then the food is not digested as quickly, then that causes toxins accumulation.
I'm getting a feeling that it's this is pretty much in all of us. That's the vibe I'm getting here. But this identifying this substance, I'm sure goes back quite far and
Mhm.
probably doesn't even take into the consideration that our food supply is tainted with pesticides and there's many issues. Again, the Ayurvedic principles go back 5,000 years. They didn't
Mhm.
have that back then.
Right,
and,
correct.
and there were still things in our body that cause illness and toxins, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now,
Yeah,
add what we eat today, and I'm sure it's even more of a
yeah,
challenge for us,
yes,
right?
for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah.
How do we identify this toxic substance in our bodies?
For evaluation and assessment, but there would be symptoms also when the toxins are accumulated in the body. There would be a tendency to sleep a lot. You feel sluggish and you feel like whatever you eat, the food is not digested. It stays in the body for a long time. You may wake up in the morning, whatever you ate the previous night, you wake up in the morning and still feel full and heavy, fatigue, and there are many other symptoms also that can be related to, like constipation. Mm.
Do does this toxic substance live in more of certain organs than others? And is it all throughout our body, like down to the cellular level?
That's a very good question. It lives in every body constitution has a home. Like every living organism has a home. So does the toxins. It has a home in our body. And for some people, it may stay in the chest where there would always be mucus coming up the chest early in the morning when you wake up. And for some people, it stays in the digestive system, in the stomach, in the colon. And these are the homes of the different doshas, or constitutions. However, these toxins can move to different places in the body if it's not clear out of the body, if we don't take care of that, if we do not detox the body properly or periodically, then when these toxins start to move, it looks for a weak spot in the body. And that weak spot, it's called cavagunia. It is a place. Perhaps you had a trauma. It could be a fall, or it could be the knees. And the knees often are affected because as we get older, the synovial fluids start to decrease. And so when the toxins move, it's going to move in that specific spot and cause a problem or illness.
Hmm. So I'm imagining that somebody would need an assessment to
Yes.
identify where they are with the substance and more, and their constitutions, which we talked about last time we got together, the different types
Correct.
of constitutions under the Ayurvedic umbrella.
Yes.
Uh,
Correct.
can you give some examples of meal plans under Ayurveda
Mhm.
and why they would be chosen?
Okay. Do you want me to give one for a specific constitution?
Your choice. You can go random, doesn't matter. And, it doesn't have to be the full day's menu, but, for example, all right, somebody with a certain constitution, insert whatever the name is, what it would might be suggested that they eat.
Okay. Let's say, for example, someone with a constitution of Pitta, and we know Pitta is a constitution of fire, water and fire makes that constitution. So when there is an imbalance, there would be elevation of heat in the body, and
Mm.
this person would be prone to inflammation, all the itis. So what I would do I would create a protocol, a diet protocol to pacify the pica, the element. So we would use the sweet taste because sweet, um, astringent, and bitter. These are the tastes I would use to pacify that constipation. So a typical diet would be eating lots of legume, leafy green vegetables. Sweet taste would also be very helpful. And we would definitely eat things that are more liquid as well and cooling. Cucumbers, very cooling. Turmeric is great to reduce inflammation. You would use that a lot in the diet.
Hmm. Yeah, so it's not like these things are going to be foods that you don't want to eat. It's just picking the right foods to eat. That's kind of what it sounds like, right? And
Yeah,
the right
absolutely.
combinations.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Hmm.
Mhm.
I learned something recently from a
Mhm.
Chinese medicine expert, and I
Mhm.
want to share it with you because it sounds
Okay.
kind of similar to what we're talking about here, and your thoughts on it when viewed through Ayurveda.
Mhm.
So, we talk about how the body runs hot, body runs cold, depending on what you eat and such. They said eating chicken is fine, except it can cause your body to run hot.
Mhm.
Um,
Depends on
go
what
ahead.
part.
Go
Yeah.
ahead. Explain.
No,
Go ahead.
depends on what part of the chicken.
No, we didn't go that deep. So, okay, fair
Mhm.
enough. Um, and their brief explanation of it was that just the chicken's lifestyle. It's up at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's running
Mhm.
around all day.
Yeah.
It's different than, let's say, eating pork, which can run colder, if you will. We're not talking
Mhm.
about the heated temperature of the food. We're talking about other principles here in terms of how
Mhm.
it internally how your body
Yeah,
runs.
the potency. Yeah.
Right. So they said if you're going to eat chicken, it might be a good idea to eat something that balances it out with more cold. What could
Mhm.
that be?
Mhm.
Mushrooms. You could cook
Mhm.
the chicken with mushrooms, and that will make it not as hot in your body. That's just one
Right.
example. Does Ayurveda kind of look that way as well? Loosely looking at Chinese medicine?
Yes, Ayurveda has the same principle. And let's say, for example, if I want to give someone um, cayenne pepper, but the body has a lot of heat, I can use a very, very small quantity, but larger of the other taste because there are 6 different tastes in Ayurveda, and it is important to consume all of them in our daily diet, but depends on the proportion based on the body constitution.
Hmm. How do you identify if somebody runs hot or runs cold?
Or they would, when you do their evaluation, you can feel it in the pulse, and they can also tell you the symptoms, and based on the symptoms, you have that conclusion to know exactly what is happening in the body. Yeah.
With everything that we're talking about, Ayurveda, the hot, the cold, is that very, very important?
It is. It is
Wow.
very important. Yes.
Hmm.
Yes. Yes.
Somebody mentioned that years ago to me, and I didn't internalize it as being, whatever, interesting. But the more and more I hear about it, the
Mhm.
more and more I'm understanding how important it is. How does it affect the body in terms of it running hot and cold? And are we trying to get to a point where there's a good balance between the two?
Mhm, mhm. So I mentioned earlier about the potency of food. We call that vipaka, that's whether it's hot, cold, and so forth, and how it can affect the body if someone has any inflammatory conditions and they eat a lot of food with spicy food or food that have very heating property, then that can aggravate the inflammation. So these are the cases when we have to think about diet. We want to reduce the potency of the food, the heat, in the food to be able to make it more cooling to balance that. And it's the same for cold. Someone who has a Vata constitution, they have a lot of cold in the body, and the body doesn't do well with anything that's cold, or Kapha, same thing. The body doesn't do well with anything that's cold, so we would want to reduce the cold and or mix it with something that's a little bit more uh, heating to counteract the effect of the cold.
Now, we're talking about the perceived temperature of food. I'm just going to call it that, just for easier understanding. However, does it also translate to the actual temperature of the food?
Yeah, definitely. So we talk about the temperature of the food and also the potency of the food. So again, someone of Pitta constitution, the body has a lot of heat. They can drink cold water, they would be okay with that. They can have ice cream, they would be okay with that. But someone of Vata constitution or Kapha constitution, ice cream, cold water would definitely aggravate the body.
When you say aggravate, what could come up?
There could be extreme dryness in the body for someone who's Vata, so there would be drying in the body, and the Kapha constitution, the cold can affect them in many ways.
Mm.
Yeah.
For you, after learning, studying Ayurveda,
Mhm.
what are some things that for your constitution you would never eat?
But definitely, I don't eat anything that's cold.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't eat ice cream. I don't drink cold water. I don't eat cold food. Even when I feel like eating salad, most of the time I cook the salad. I eat it. Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Wow. Um, I find if I'm going to have ice cream, and it's rare, but when I do, I like it sitting there for a while. I don't have to have it ice cold. I find it's got more flavor when it's getting a little closer to room temperature. It's not room temperature because it's still ice cream, but
Mm.
as it starts to melt, for me, that's magical. I
Oh,
don't, and even my taste buds when they're cold, it's almost like they get numb, and I don't have the full effect. So
yeah,
I'd rather have it that way.
yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, that works for you. That's good.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what constitution I am. Is there that's the con? Can somebody have multiple constitutions?
Yeah, absolutely. What we
Okay.
call bidosha. Bidosha means you have two constitutions, or you could also be tridosha. You have three constitutions,
Okay.
meaning that they are very much in equal proportion or very, very close. Yeah. And someone with Pitta dual constitution, you have to balance the diet according to the time of the day, the weather, the seasons of the year. So when it is hot and cold, like right now it is in Florida, so you would want to give them, depends, to pacify the pitta, you would want to give them something more cooling. And to pacify the vata, then it would be something more, a little bit more heating, but not at this time in the middle of the day.
It almost sounds like it's about balance. You need to
It's all
balance it
about
out.
balance. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And
Um,
the right,
I'm
I
sorry, go
just
ahead.
wanted to no, I just wanted to add in someone with all three constitutions, so you have to go according to the season, and taking into consideration location where the person lives and all that.
So what I'm getting from you is there's lots of variables here that you need to take into consideration.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um, what else should we know about the Ayurvedic diet?
Food incompatibility. Yeah. It's something I observe all the time. I would go to places where they serve food and they have a very nice meal and dessert after the meal of fruits. eating foods before a meal, I'm sorry, not before a meal, after a meal, really slows down digestion. And same thing with dessert, because the foods is digest quite easily. However, when you eat it after a meal, it slows the digestive process because it's lighter than the meal and it's going to be digested first and the meal just going to be sitting there. Uh, and it's something that's very important for people to know, to understand. And having a cold drink after a meal or dairy with meat, all those things, they slow down the digestive process and cause indigestion.
Wow. I've even heard, staple of American diet, meat and potatoes, they don't go together. When you try to digest both of those, even though we've been eating it in the American society for decades and decades and decades, when you put the two together, meat and potatoes, doesn't agree with your constitution. I mean, the enzymes, like, they just don't work well for anybody. That's what I've
Right,
heard.
right. And again, the American diet is not about eating for good health, it's about eating to be full.
Yeah, but then there's that.
So,
What I'm getting from you, Alda, is that so many of us have digestion issues. We don't feel healthy. Sometimes we're off. And it's a lot of this sounds like it is coming from food,
yeah,
not just what we're eating, how we're eating it, when we're eating it.
yeah,
If we apply this principle, again, it's been around 5,000 years for a reason, many of our issues probably would go away very soon.
absolutely, absolutely. And I've
Wow.
seen a lot of people who are able to balance the body just doing those simple changes, you know. Don't eat too late and don't eat certain things at a certain time. And just be mindful when you're eating and know that eating is not like I'm so upset I'm gonna eat some food to make me feel better.
Yeah. Yeah. Comfort
Just,
food. Yeah, sure. Many of
yeah,
us just eat. We don't even think about it. We
yeah,
eat in front of a screen at lunch, maybe at work or whatever. We're just shoveling it in, not even being intentional about how much, what we're
yeah,
eating. The more and more I don't eat as much, I don't want as much. It's the body's amazing how it remembers, and it's all habitual, and you don't need to eat as much as you eat. And me personally, I don't use a lot of condiments. I haven't touched a salt shaker in since I was 10 years old.
wow,
Don't
good
need
for
it.
you.
My dad said something about it once. I never forgot it. And there's
Mhm.
sodium in everything. Why do you have to add more to it? Yeah, if I cook a steak once every 2 months or whatever, I'll add a little bit of salt on that only because it brings out the flavor. Short of that,
Mhm,
never even
mhm,
touch it. And it's the
mhm.
same thing with sweets. If you get off of them, you really don't want them. You don't crave them so much.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Thank you for all the insight. What's the best way to find you?
You can find me at www dot at ahwcenter.com and for advancedcityWellnessCenter.com. My phone number is 954-900-1535.
Thank you so much for bringing all of this to light, and
My pleasure.
certainly with the diet, very important, and life changing. If somebody wants to take a look at an evaluation and determine what kind of constitution they have within this, to reach out to you. Thanks again for being here today.
Thank you, Steve. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.